What's up, friends, fellow card collectors? Card Hobbies here, and today is another episode of Off the Cuff. Been a while since I've done one of the Off the Cuff videos, but decided to do one today. If you're not familiar with the Off the Cuff series, sorry, having a little trouble enunciating my words here. But if you are not familiar with the Off the Cuff series, I basically just get on here and talk about three subjects that may or may not have to do with the card hobby or sports in general. So the first thing I want to talk about is the NFL. So this past weekend we had the divisional series playoff games. Some really entertaining games in there. 49ers pretty much handled the Vikings pretty easily. 49ers defense looks really good. Offense can do just enough to hold on, win football games. 49ers are a very good team. Very good team. Both sides of the ball, they are very good. Pretty good running backs and offensive line, defensive line, defense in general for the 49ers is really good. The true surprise of the weekend was, for me, or pretty much for everybody, was the Titans beating the Ravens. The Titans pretty much dominated that game for the most part. Their defense shut down Lamar Jackson for the most part. Lamar had a few big runs, especially towards the end. But they pretty much handled the passing game really well. Didn't really lose coverages. Like when Lamar starts to scramble, a lot of times those coverages get lost and you have wide open people down the field. Tennessee defense did really well, and then Derrick Henry is running at a whole nother level. They are feeding the ball a lot. Very much offensively old school football type. You got a big bruising running back. You hand them the ball, close to 30 times a game. Let them wear down the defense. Speed up the game. Don't let that high-powered offense on the field for a while if you can. Of course, the main part of that is you have to play good defense if you're going to play an offensive game playing like that. And Tennessee's got a good defense. And you also got to score, if you're going to grind out a 6-minute, 7-minute drive on the ground, with a beast running back like Derrick Henry and get down there and only get a field goal, that's not as good. You have to get in the end zone, and Tennessee's been doing that. I love seeing Tennessee do well, mainly because I want to see Tannehill do well in the playoffs, and he's not the one you lean on to win you games for the most part. Tannehill is a good game managing quarterback, but he's not the one that you're going to rely on his arm to win you a football game for the most part. Is it possible for him to do that? Yes, but he's not that type of quarterback. He's more of a game manager type quarterback, I guess you could say, which is probably one of the reasons why he didn't really flourish in Miami, because he never really had an offensive line down there. He was running for his life most of the time. Had some good receivers, but really the running game, besides that one year where J.J. was really good, and that was the year they made the playoffs, but then Tannehill was hurt, and Matt Moore had to start a playoff game against the Steelers, and that didn't turn out well at all. So, Tannehill is a decent quarterback when his surrounding pieces are there. With an offensive line and a running back, like Tennessee's got, Tannehill can flourish in that system. So on Sunday we played yesterday. We had, the Houston Kansas City game. That was wild. Man, that game couldn't have started out any worse for Kansas City. They were down 24-0 at one point. I mean, they gave up the quick touchdown to Houston to start the game, and then had a drop on third down, then a block punt, which was returned for a touchdown. And then it was 14-0. And then they had another drop for a third down conversion. And then Houston drove down and scored, and Houston got a field goal. It was like 24-0. And you're like, man. And this was like at the start of the second quarter. And then by the end of the game, the Chiefs would turn around and scored 50 and beat the Texans. As horrible as a start as the Chiefs got, they scored 51 points. If you would have told me that the Chiefs scored 51 points, in a playoff game against Texans, I would have been like, all right, yeah. Okay, so they had a really good game, right? But yeah, if you would have told me the Chiefs would have scored 51 points after they were down 24-0 after one quarter, or actually it was what, 21-0 after one quarter, but still to score 51 points in 3 quarters, that's insane. And yeah, mad props to the Chiefs offense. They're fast, they got playmakers. Mahomes really doesn't have to do too much. You know, nothing against Mahomes, he's a great quarterback, you know, one of the best quarterbacks in the league by far. But you know, when you have playmakers around you like that and you could dump the ball off to them in space, and they can make plays for you, you know, make a few people miss or get open for you, it's amazing. You know, really good offense. Sorry to the Texans defense, but that was pretty bad, you know, the second half. Now, the Texans did make some mistakes to put the Chiefs in good positions to get back in the game, you know, with the fake punt and all that. Turnovers really helped the Chiefs get back in the game, but once the Chiefs got rolling, it was Texans couldn't stop them. The late game on yesterday was the Packers and the Seahawks. Packers jumped out to a big lead and held on to win. Seahawks tried to make a push there at the end. Seahawks were moving the ball really well, but you know, the Packers had that bend don't break defense, and the Packers held them off. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. He was dropping dimes, you know, like Aaron Rodgers can sometimes. Aaron Rodgers on his game, he's dropping dimes in there, you know. He's like one of those quarterbacks like Brady. It's like, you know, what can you do? You know, when he's dropping dimes in between 2 defenders, and you know, there's just inches between that defender tipping that ball and that ball getting in there, and Rodgers dropping dimes. So yeah, that leads us to the championship game, which you're going to have the 49ers versus the Packers in San Francisco, and you're going to have the Chiefs versus Tennessee in Kansas City. My prediction for that is I like the 49ers to beat the Packers. But, I mean, that game's going to be close, because if Rodgers and that offensive line for the Packers plays like they did against Seattle, they're going to get the 49ers game. You know, but it's going to be hard against 49ers. 49ers got a better defense than Seattle, in my opinion. So, but my pick is that the 49ers win a squeaker against the Packers. Now, for the Chiefs and the Titans, as much as I want to see the Titans advance, I don't know. I mean, if they can harass Mahomes, they get in that backfield, get sacks against Mahomes, you know, anything's possible, control the clock. It all depends on who's able to have their game plan. If you start seeing the Tennessee Titans pull out 6, 7, 8-minute drives and scoring touchdowns at the end, Chiefs may be in trouble. But however, if it becomes a field position battle in either way, both defenses are playing great, I think that mainly favors the Chiefs if, you know, they can get some of those quick strike touchdowns and make the Titans play from behind. You know, I don't think the Titans are built for playing from behind. Having to rely more on Tannehill than Derrick Henry. I mean, Tannehill, I love you, brother, but you know, Derrick Henry's the heart and soul of that team, and when you can run him while in the lead or in a tie game or even down one score, that's the money right there for the Titans. Yeah, so that is the NFL playoffs. So I'm picking the Chiefs to beat the Titans, but I really like to see the Titans beat the Chiefs. But at the Chiefs win, it is what it is. It'd be fun to see a Patrick Mahomes in his first Super Bowl. So wow, I've been talking almost 10 minutes about the NFL playoffs. Let's move on to another subject. Not a different subject, still about football, but it's a whole different league. The XFL is going to be starting up a week after the Super Bowl airs. So football is not going to end at the Super Bowl. You know, usually you had this dead period between, you know, for people like me, between where the Super Bowl ends and where baseball starts, where all you have in there really is March Madness. You know, if you're not a big NBA regular season fan or a hockey fan, it's pretty much a dead period, you know. And, you know, for people that aren't baseball fans, like, and they're NBA fans, their dead periods from when the NBA season ends to when football begins. But me, I'm a baseball fan, so I'm super excited for the baseball season, but that's another couple months away. But the XFL, I mean, that's going to be an interesting holdover. Now, you know, the talent's not going to be there. It's not going to be NFL talent football. there might be some NFL talent in there, but the teams are mainly players that aren't talented enough to be NFL starters, but were pretty good players in college. So I'm interested to see it because of the rules they're implementing, not necessarily the level of play the XFL is going to have, but some of these rule changes. I'm not going to say rule changes, but rule implementations they're doing sounds really interesting. Kickoffs are really going to favor the kickoff return team because the coverage team can't even start running until the returner gets the ball, but at the same point they're only like 10 yards off the returner. That's going to be interesting to see. I want to see how that works out. The punting very much favors the punt return team. You kick it out of bounds, the return team gets it at the 35. You kick it for a touchback, they get it at the 35. You kick it out of bounds, and it doesn't even make it to 35, they get the ball there. So very much favors the punt returners. Once again, the gunners can't even run down the field until the ball is kicked, so that's going to leave space for the returner to have some returns. Very interesting wanting to see how that plays out. Point after touchdowns, there's going to be 3 options from the 2-yard line, 5-yard line, and 10-yard line, worth 1, 2, and 3 points respectively. So that's interesting. If you're down a lot, you can start going for those 3 point after touchdowns from the 10-yard line. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a running clock, very much like watching a soccer match. I mean, you got out of bounds, that clock keeps running. That's going to be interesting as well. But yeah, some definite rules in there that are really interesting. Really speeding up the pace of play. Really pressing on these teams to go for it on 4th down. Especially in the punt game. That's going to be interesting to see how the strategy works out in the XFL in regards to the punt game, because those punt rules are pretty unique. Kickoff rules are unique. The overtime shootout rules pretty unique as well. Where they're going to flip-flop plays. It's going to be more like hybrid, hockey, soccer shootout, but with football, where they alternate, and each team's trying to score from the 2-yard line. And then, until one team is mathematically eliminated. But there will be no ties. So, the kicker's going to have a reduced role in this league, obviously, with the exception of kickoffs and, field goals in which they choose to take. But they won't be used for point after touchdowns, which we all know is really, part of the game that nobody really pays attention to, until a kicker misses a point after touchdown. Somebody scores a point, you get all this or scores a touchdown, you get all this elation, and it's like, they gotta kick it, and kick for 1 point to make it an even 7. So I really like these point after touchdown rules. I'm interested to see how it plays out. But they're really lining up the XFL to be a more fast-paced, probably higher scoring, more back and forth than regular football. They're trying to fit, all games under 3 hours, which is great by having a running clock and all that. So really, I'm actually kind of excited to see the XFL in play. It's a viable alternative to the NFL. It's not a competing league with the NFL because it ends after the NFL begins after the NFL season. So it's non-competing. Now with player contracts and all that moving between leagues, I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know the profitability of the XFL. I mean, it may go bankrupt again. Who knows? But it's not really that entertainment value that they were trying to get out of the original XFL, which was kind of edgy and was really trying to bring in the man's crowd. But I think this one is, they actually looked at the data and they're trying to do something, with the data they have for player safety and everything. So it's going to be interesting. I'll call it that. I'm not going to say it's going to be good, but it's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the XFL. For the final topic, I want to talk about bargain breaks. Yes, bargain breaks. One thing I do. It's part of my niche. I love bargain breaks. I love participating in them, and I love breaking for you guys a bargain break. So, why bargain breaks? Well, for me, I'll say it from a standpoint of where I'm coming from. growing up in a low income household with a pretty conservative single mother, her risk tolerance was very low, and that kind of got passed on to us as her kids. We have pretty low risk tolerances. So we if we take a risk, it's a very calculated risk. And that's also when it comes to things like baseball cards. Now, make no mistake, baseball cards aren't a staple. They're not a necessity. Baseball cards are luxury items. They're collectible. They have no use outside of the collectible hobby itself. Now, are there other uses for baseball cards? I guess. I mean, you can fold it up, use it as a spoon if you want. But it is cardboard. I mean, I guess you can, make a tiny baseball card box if you want to ship something in. But really, they don't have any use besides being a collectible. So therefore, they're a luxury item. And, growing up in a low-income household, with a single mother taking care of 4 kids, you only had the necessities for the most part. You had your staples. Luxury things were, few and far between. So your risk tolerance for buying luxury items is really low. You don't have a high, risk reward structure, I guess you can say. You don't really make risky decisions unless they are calculated. Now, when you buy baseball cards, that's a risk. You're risking your money to buy a box, and you get a reward from that box. Some of you may remember my video from before where I compared baseball cards to lottery tickets in a way, saying retail versus hobby. Hobby has a higher risk, but also the chance for a higher reward versus retail. But that's why mainly I'm a retail warrior when it comes to the hobby. It's low risk, low chance of a high reward, but for me, being able to rip the packs and experience the rip, which I enjoy the most. I love ripping in the cards. I love the thrill of finding out what's inside, the treasure hunt of it, is enough for me. So that's why I'm mainly a retail guy. I do pick up hobby every now and again when I can find it on sale, but being a generally low risk person, I look for low risk opportunities, and that's where I get to bargain breaks. Bargain breaks are really a low risk opportunity. So what is a bargain? What do I consider a bargain break? I consider a bargain break any break where the cost of one team is less than $10. That is a bargain break for me. Now, sometimes I won't even buy into breaks where a team is, $8 or $9 because I'm like, one team, $8 or $9. I really need to like the product in order to get a random team in there. I'm not a team collector. I'm a Hall of Fame collector. So random teams don't bother me as much. Unless I get the Marlins, because there's no Marlins in the Hall of Fame. Unless you get, a card of Pudge with the Marlins. I'm sure there's some other players that played for the Marlins that became Hall of Famers. But I can't think of many off the top of my head. I mean, Pudge is really the one that pops up. But I mean, what's your odds of getting a Pudge Marlins card out of a certain product? A lot of times when you get a Pudge card, it's with the Rangers. But yeah, so I mean, like that's where your calculation of risk reward comes in. Am I going to pay $12, $13, $14, $15 for a team, and a product? What's my reward from that? What's my chance of pulling Hall of Famer cards out of it? So like, you won't see me buying into breaks of Bowman for the most part, because that's not what I collect. I'm looking for cards that I can personally add to my personal collection, my PC. I'm not looking for resale value on cards. I'm not looking to get that big boomer hit where I can turn around and flip it on, eBay for $500, and make a profit off of it. I don't try to use buying into group breaks as a profit-making device, because there's a risk in that. And the higher your risk tolerance, you may be buying into super expensive breaks, hoping to turn around and get your money back, or, get a card that you can flip and make more money on it. That's just not how I collect. And therefore, I am more attracted to lower end budget group breaks. hence why I run them myself. My budget group break has recently gone up in price to $6.50, but that gets you 2 random teams. That's $3.25 a team. I mean, you can't find many breaks online that are going to charge you $3.25 for a team and a random break. And how can you charge so cheap? Because there is a low chance of a high reward out of there. Now, that's not going to say there won't be a high reward in there, but when that high reward is hit, it feels, oh, that's so much better, because the chances were so low from the get-go. And I want to offer that to people that think like me, you know, the budget breakers out there that really enjoy the cards as the cards. They want to collect for what they collect instead of hoping to get that big hit. Now, the price went up on my bargain breaks because I added 4 hits to them. These hits aren't nothing major. You're not chasing Hank Aaron autos here. You're not chasing a Willie Mays auto. You're not chasing a Mike Trout auto in these breaks. Can it happen? Yeah, it's possible out of one of the packs, but not out of the 4 hits that I threw in there. These 4 hits are mainly, you know, you get these prospect autos in there. You get these USA baseball autos in there. Players that aren't really super collectible in the hobby, but, you know, they're MLB player autos. But, you know, I decided to throw that in there because there are people that like the hit factor. And I wanted to add the hit factor to a bargain break. And I think I managed to do that by throwing in these bargain autos. You still have that chance for 1 to 4 hits. Plus what comes out of the packs. You never know what's going to come out of the pack. We pulled a Chris Bryant patch or jersey card out of opening day. Who pulls hits out of opening day? It's not common. It happens, but it's not common. Well, when you're ripping retail like that, you know, you do have the chance to hit it, but it's a lot lower. So that's why I offer bargain breaks. That's why I'm drawn to bargain breaks. I'm not the only one that does bargain breaks. Wicked Discounts does bargain breaks. AIAB does bargain breaks every Friday. Definitely check him out. And yeah, I can't really think of many others that do bargain breaks where they offer teams for under $10. And to find bargain breaks where they're offering teams like I do, $6.50 for 2 teams are very, very rare. But if you do know other people that do bargain breaks, please comment in the description below and let me know, because that's what I'm drawn to. I'm drawn to bargain breaks. So if you watch this and you're running bargain breaks, let me know. Put it in the description below. You know somebody else on YouTube that does bargain breaks, put it in the description below. I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, I've talked for over 20 minutes while sitting in my car here. I'm actually at Walmart. Speaking of which, I did pick up something at Walmart. Some 2019 gallery. I haven't opened any of that this year, so I'm not going to open that whole blaster. That blaster is mainly to add to my stash that goes into my budget break, my pack mixer break, which is a lot of fun. I had so much fun last night running that break, and that was the 8th time I ran that break. And every time I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. I enjoy ripping these packs, and there's no pressure to hit, you know, to feel like you're losing money or anything like that, because it's, you know, it's super budget. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I was gonna rip a pack, but I think I've taken too much time with this off the cuff. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean, I'm at 25 minutes of recording time. But yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Remember, you can only control your thoughts and your actions, so stay positive, keep ripping them packs, and I'll catch you all later. I'll probably get a upload this Wednesday for a quick hitter. Probably feature one of those gallery packs in there. But appreciate it, y'all. I'll catch you later. Peace.